Post-secondary, increased education outcomes amongst the Stratnium that later translates to meaningful participation in the new economy. Why focus on post-secondary education? Post-secondary is increasingly considered a key ingredient for the social, economic, and well-being of the Stratnium. The success of Aboriginal people in post-secondary education should be a vital interest to all Stratnium. The total number of Stratnium students studying at a bachelor level and above remains constant. The significant participation and achievement gap at higher level between Stratnium and the rest of the population has not reduced. This means further work is needed to ensure the education system is delivering the levels of success we would like to see. Higher level qualifications, a bachelor's degree and above, have the greatest benefits for students. Qualifications at these levels increase the student's future income and employment opportunities. Increasing the number of highly educated Stratnium with the skills, knowledge, and qualifications sought by employers will boost the Stratnium well-being and economy for all Stratnium lifelong learners.
My name is Ina Williams. I'm from Houston, also known as Bridge River. I'm enrolled in the NITEP program out of UBC. This program benefits me because I would like to become an instructor. I'm already instructing now, but I'd like to further my education and be able to teach not only in a university college, but also in the school districts. So this NITEP program will help me to further my education. To build capacity within our nation, we need to have our students enrolled and complete the programs. However, we need to understand the barriers that are included when it comes to our members enrolling in these programs. We need to look at the wellness of our people. This would really help build capacity within our nation in education.
Barriers of post-secondary education. There are a multitude of barriers impacting the success of Stratnium learners that begin with respect to culture and language, customs, traditions, and histories. The barriers impacting access, transitions, retention, and graduation are also due in part to colonization, the legacy of residential schools, and the current socioeconomic status of Stratlium. Given these unique circumstances, targeted and specific intervention is essential to address the access, transition, retention, and graduation if Stratnium learners are to succeed in post-secondary education. The barriers to success for Stratnium learners in post-secondary education have been well documented, and the issues of funding come up repeatedly as the most significant barrier for lifelong learners. The Federal Post-Secondary Student Support Program does not support the number of qualified First Nation students who want to attend post-secondary education. 89% of students surveyed reported that post-secondary student support program is vital to ensure First Nation students can access post-secondary education. Low-income families make it difficult to support children to attend post-secondary education. Employment opportunities are limited. Many Stratnium graduates cannot expect to find the same good jobs and good pay as other Canadian members. First Nations people are debt adverse. People living or earning a low income experience many concerns. Concerns that their lower earning make it difficult to repay any debt, less experience with credit, which is difficult to get if one has low income, less access to funds from family in the form of self-financing. Furthermore, bans paying for post-secondary education is generally regarded as a right. However, funding is based on meeting certain criteria to meet funding requirements. Stress and anxiety of repaying loans, especially if they have children to support or earns insufficient income after graduating. Fear of failure, to graduate as well as their experience with financial struggles of family and friends and reluctance to burden their own family with the debt. Debt and mortgages are often foreign idea and often seen as a burden, not an investment. Many Statler learners are ill prepared for post-secondary education due to inadequate funding levels they have experienced in elementary and secondary education. Many Statler learners complete post-secondary education at a later age. Entering post-secondary education later is likely to increase the need for upgrading and supports to reintegrate back into the education system. Many Statler learners are female and many have family responsibilities. Many Statler live in poverty, which makes attaining post-secondary education very challenging. 1 in 4 First Nations children live in poverty. Setting aside funding for education is difficult when money is needed for food, housing, and healthcare. Living in poverty results in a lack of reading books and computers. Living in poverty or close to it does little to support financial literacy. Statler learners require unique support services to foster retention. Barriers which continue to be relevant today is a legacy of distrust in the Statler community of education system due to residential schools and other historic practices seen as having a negative and assimilative effect on First Nations. Lack of preparation for university or college at the secondary education level. Feelings of social discrimination, isolation, and loneliness at post-secondary education. A lack of respect for Aboriginal culture and cultural differences at the post-secondary level as well. There is a need for mainstream institutions to be welcoming and responsive to create a welcoming place for a full array of Statler learners for all Aboriginal learners. Most Statler learners must leave their communities to attend post-secondary education. Age and geographic location are variables related to education and employment outcomes. Income impacts wellness. Wellness impacts learning. In order of least to importance to most important, the following supports are needed: life skills, mental health, academic assistance, financial assistance, physical, cultural, spiritual, and social and emotional support. Statler require role models to aspire to and for guidance. Several Statler learners stress that one of the barriers that they had faced as students include that they are the first in their families to access post-secondary education. Therefore, role models are needed so that learners can aspire to succeed. Funding levels limit education aspirations. When there is limited funding, learners may choose to enroll in short-term certificate or diploma programs rather than multi-year programs like graduate programs or multi-year apprenticeship programs. Statler learners may also choose to stop their learning after obtaining one post-secondary education credential. This kind of thinking does not lend itself to being prepared for the local economy, nor the provincial changing workforce needs. Transitional barriers for lifelong learners also are included. Students moving away from their home, becoming homesick, missing their family, friends, and pets. Students may become ambivalent about dependence and independence. Some will openly ask for parent support, and others won't tell parents important details for them to succeed. Academic challenges. The work is hard, and some students experience the first low grades in post-secondary education in their first year. Students are expected to maintain their own schedules, develop good study habits, and there is no one around to direct the learners to study, to go to class, or to go get a good night's sleep. Students may become excited about the whole new areas of life and study, and their career goals and plans may change. This poses a challenge for students that are expected to provide an academic education plan to their education coordinators for their program funding. Furthermore, parents, caregivers who believe their students' goals are set in stone may be surprised or disappointed when things begin to change. University college life challenges. University is a maze. Students have to figure things out. They have to learn where to go and how to provide themselves with the support they need. Universities have vocabulary and rituals that are new and unique. Relationship challenges as well. Students will be leaving old friends behind. Students are also confronted with different people from a variety of backgrounds. There also may be students who rely on parents, caregivers, or others to provide them support, care, and nurturance, and some students may be very emotionally distraught and needy. Therefore, home and family challenges also impact students' learning. The post-secondary education strategic goals. Number 1, to close the educational gap for STATLIM learners. The objective, increase the access, retention, completion, and transition opportunities for STATLIM learners. Increase the receptivity and relevance of post-secondary institutions and programs for STATLIM learners. Strengthen partnerships and collaboration in post-secondary education. Reduce financial barriers through targeted scholarships for STATLIM learners. Number 2, effective and accountable programs and services, implementation and delivery. The objective, to ensure effective measurement and progress monitoring.